In the previous video, Seo-jun handed the key to his motorcycle to the protagonist and said that from that moment on, he would only listen to her. Soo-ho acted strangely when he saw the two approaching. In the classroom, Ju-kyung asks Seo-jun why he gave him the key to his motorcycle, and the boy says it's so he won't be in danger of riding it and is following what he had told him previously, that he would only listen to the protagonist from that moment on. The boy hands Ju-kyung a juice, and despite the nice gesture, the girl informs him that she likes the strawberry flavor. In the laboratory, Soo-ho does something new and invites the protagonist to sit next to her, then gives her strawberry juice. When they are in the cafeteria, Seo-jun sits next to Ju-kyung, and the girl asks him to leave. Obviously, the annoyingly cute guy doesn't move, and the two even end up being photographed at the moment he holds the protagonist's hair. Then, to get it over with, the girl gives Seo-jun the key to her motorcycle. However, he says he doesn't need to do that, as he parked it in front of the protagonist's house. Surprised by the news, the girl ends up accidentally spitting the rest of the food that was in her mouth onto his face. Meanwhile, we see Go-woon singing in the school choir. The teacher informs everyone in front of everyone that the girl will be the one to perform the solo in the performance, and she is super happy. However, not for long, as she is intimidated by other girls to give up while she rehearses alone and the protagonist watches everything from afar. Returning home after class, on the bus, Ju-kyung notices that Soo-jin's hands are chapped and applies moisturizer to her friend's skin to help. Suddenly the bullies from her old school enter the bus, and the protagonist's heart stops. Soo-jin notices that the girl has become nervous and decides that they should get off the vehicle. Her friend confronts Saemi, telling her to get out of her way, and the two sit at the stop. Soo-jin says she has no reason for Ju-kyung to be like this. If she acts more confident, things will be different next time. At night, Soo-ho thinks about sending a message to the protagonist to discuss something with her but ends up giving up. However, when she puts her cell phone in her pocket, she ends up calling the girl by accident, and the person who answers is Ju-kyung's brother. The protagonist was taking a shower, and when she leaves, the two start to have those normal sibling arguments. When the girl realizes that Soo-ho is listening to everything, she gets embarrassed and hangs up the call, but when she enters her room, she returns to him. The boy invites her to the playground and asks her to take his coat that Hee-kyung had soiled by vomiting on it that day. At the playground, Ju-kyung arrives a little late and finds Soo-ho trying to get the attention of a kitten, but the little animal only goes with the protagonist. The girl says that she started feeding him because she felt sorry for the kitten being alone and having no family. That's how she won him over, and Soo-ho says that she doesn't have a family either and reveals that he lives alone when Ju-kyung asks about it. The protagonist didn't take the boy's clothes because they hadn't dried yet and apologizes for that. Ju-kyung starts to say goodbye when Soo-ho finds a basketball, and the two start practicing shooting. Afterwards, Soo-ho takes the protagonist home and says that if she gives him the key to Seo-jun's motorcycle, the boy will return it to the owner. The next day, the motorcycle is no longer in front of his house, and Ju-kyung believes that Soo-ho has really resolved the issue. In physical education class, the protagonist's classmates talk about a basketball match she is going to have, and on one side we have Soo-ho's team, on the other Seo-jun's team. The court is going to catch fire. Later, Seo-jun receives a call informing him that his motorcycle was towed. The boy doesn't believe that Ju-kyung could have done it. However, Soo-ho approaches and says that he was the one who committed the act of reporting it. Meanwhile, in the school bathroom, Go-woon is intimidated by those choir girls and ends up being surprised when the protagonist enters the room and throws a bucket of water at the girls. Ju-kyung says that she is the girl's sister and that it is for them to leave them alone. Soo-ah and Soo-jin enter the bathroom and defend their friend. Soo-jin makes a capoeira move that almost hits them in the face to keep the girls quiet. On the roof, the protagonist consoles Go-woon and says that she shouldn't give up on performing because of the things those girls said, because her talent is unique and beautiful. Ju-kyung knows how she feels more than anyone and is happy to have helped the girl. If someone had done that for her too, maybe things would have been different. At the bus stop, when Suho asks her what she is doing, the protagonist says that she is watching a makeup tutorial to help a person who reminds her of her past. The girl adds that she also looks ugly without makeup. And Suho comments that the girl is pretty without makeup. Then Ju-kyung's bus arrives, and she gets on. The protagonist thinks that it can't be possible that he likes her, but decides to test something and ask him out to see a film after the school festival, which, to his surprise, he accepts. When getting off the bus, Suho receives a call from Seo-jun asking where he is. Then we see the two talking, and Suho gives him the key to the boy's motorcycle. He then confesses to liking Ju-kyung and asks that he doesn't use the girl to get revenge on him. Seo-jun thinks that because Suho didn't answer Se-yeon's call the night he took his own life, the boy can't be happy and asks him what the protagonist would think of him if she knew he ended up helping his own friend take his life. Hee-kyung is waiting for that teacher to leave school, and as she doesn't want his money but time with the man, she invites him out for dinner that same night. The conversation between the two flows perfectly, and at one point, when Hee-kyung goes to clean the teacher's mouth, he ends up saying that he requires a lot of care, which causes the man who has his mouth full to accidentally spit in the woman's face, as I didn't expect her words. Since she is really dirty and has already had enough shame, the woman says that she likes to be very direct and reveals to the teacher that she is in love with him, another surprise that he didn't imagine. The next day is the school festival, and Ju-kyung finds herself in déjà vu. Go-woon appears with makeup on, however, looking like a clown, like the protagonist the first time she tried. Ju-kyung takes the girl to a place where it's just the two of them before anyone else sees her and helps her fix her face. During the performance, everything goes perfectly well, and the girl shines on stage. After the stage, Go-woon is thanking the protagonist for all her help, and Ju-kyung finds out that Seo-jun is the little girl's brother. The boy is also surprised that the two know each other, and when they are alone, his sister explains that the protagonist helped him deal with some intimidating girls and put on makeup. Meanwhile, Ju-kyung wears a piggy costume to liven up the basketball game together with Soo-ah, since Soo-jin doesn't know if she will attend. When she is leaving the locker room, the protagonist comes across Suho, and as he didn't respond to her messages, she tries to start something with the boy. However, Suho is arrogant and says he won't go to the movies with her anymore, adding that he's only kind because he feels sorry for Ju-kyung. The protagonist didn't expect this and gets extremely upset, so she tells the boy that she never asked him to do anything for her and that from that moment on she can ignore him. After Ju-kyung leaves the locker room, he starts crying, and during the entire game it was like that too. Lucky that with the pig's head, no one could see. Soo-jin ends up showing up to watch the basketball game with her friends, and Suho's team wins. The boy still on the court goes to Seo-jun and says that he's right, the issue with their friend is all his fault, but he still shouldn't mess with Ju-kyung because of him, because he won't let him. At night, there is a show for the students, and the singer plays a song by Se-yeon, which touches Suho's heart, and the boy starts crying a lot. Ju-kyung tries to help him when he finds him, but he leaves running and asks her not to follow him. We see what happened that night. Se-yeon called Suho when all that madness with the press started. However, the boy didn't answer and decided to go take a shower. When he left, he heard the news and ran to the place. They had a friendship bracelet, and on the stretcher that had a body covered, there was the hand out with the bloody bracelet. At that moment, the boy began to blame himself for not having attended to his friend, and his world has become darker since then. At home, when picking up Suho's coat, which her sister had soiled and is now clean, the protagonist realizes that it was the boy who saved her that day when she wanted to throw herself off the roof of the building. Then everything falls into place, the reason why he was in a bad way and also why he cursed her, saying that her loved ones would blame themselves after she was gone forever if she did that. Ju-kyung goes to the same roof and finds Suho crying there despite the disagreements from earlier. She consoles him. Later, when the boy is calmer, the two talk about the first night they met on the roof and are interrupted when the residents enter the place shouting, warning that the building is on fire. However, when everyone is going downstairs, the two discover that it was smoke that activated the fire alarm, but there is no fire itself. The next day, report cards are delivered to the protagonist's school, and she is worried because her grades were lower than the girl expected. When her mother finds out at the meeting how much her daughter scored in each subject, she becomes angry. However, she ends up making a new client when the wind from her little portable fan lifts the professor's face, and she notices that he doesn't have eyebrows, so the woman gives him her salon card in case one day she wants to get them pigmented. Suho's father is also at school, and this has eased things for now between Jukyung and his mother, as the woman is a big fan of the man and has been distracted by him for a long time. When the news that Suho's father is a celebrity spreads and the boy leaves everyone to isolate himself, Soo-jin explains that he doesn't like others knowing who his father is. Later in the parking lot, Jukyung's mother is inconvenienced once again with Suho's father while he is talking to his son and bothers him by asking for a photo. Meanwhile, Seo-jun is in the bathroom washing his face, remembering when he met Suho's father at Se-yeon's funeral. The man seems to have fired the boy after the controversy that took place in the press, which may have led to other reasons why he took his life. We see in the next scene why Soo-jin is a little anxious and has the habit of washing her hands every time she is attacked. Her father, after discovering her grades, says if in passing she came second among the better grades, he slaps her in the face and says she won't get into the best medical school like that. The next day, Go-woon invites the protagonist to have a drink after school, where she thanks Jukyung for helping her, and despite the other girls continuing to talk about her face, the protagonist asks if she doesn't feel bad about it. However, Go-woon teaches her something indirectly. She says that if she agreed with the bad things these girls say, she would be telling herself that she is a loser. So she decided to just ignore them and live with her face the way it is. But anyway, Go-woon asks Jukyung to teach her how to use makeup, and the two go to the girl's house. In the place, the protagonist did not expect what was to come. While she was in the room putting makeup on the little girl, Seo-jun appeared wearing headphones, boxer shorts, and a bathrobe, dancing without realizing that there were people in the place. However, as soon as she turned around and saw Jukyung, he ran to her room in shame. Upon arriving home, the protagonist is faced with another surprise. Suho is there to have dinner with her family. It turns out that the girl's mother went to the comic book store to look for her daughter and ended up finding the boy, taking this into account. Considering that he is the son of his idol, he decided to invite him to eat something. When Suho goes to help Jukyung's brother set the table for dinner, the boy asks if Suho likes his sister, and he confesses that he does. However, the boy doesn't believe it and laughs at the situation. He just asks that Suho not make jokes like that with the protagonist so that she doesn't confuse things. At the dinner table, things go as reasonably as possible. We know that the protagonist's family has a habit of being a little noisy and talking about each person's faults, even in front of visitors. However, when Hee-kyung arrives home, she is drunk again and ends up tripping over a cable that turns off all the lighting in the house. Everyone helps look for the circuit breaker, and the first to find her cell phone to turn on the flashlight and help is Jukyung. However, when she points the light to where the rest are, she ends up seeing the scene of Suho lying on the floor with everyone on top of him. The next day, Hee-kyung invites her sister to go to the sauna with her and eat something delicious afterwards. However, when she is inside the furnace, Seo-jun enters together with a classmate from school. She takes the opportunity when they leave because they can't stand the heat and goes to the cafeteria to find her sister, who, when she finds her, almost says her name, so the girl puts a piece of chicken in her mouth to stop her. Afterwards, Jukyung stops by an establishment to get hamburgers for the two of them to eat and ends up finding the bullies from her old school there, and as expected, they repeat the same mistakes with the girl. The protagonist runs away when she has the opportunity but ends up leaving her wallet, saying where she studied, behind, and when she goes back to get it, she comes across Suho asking them to return the object. The boy ran up to her to give her his belongings, and Ju-kyung says that she doesn't understand why he did that if he isn't even her friend. Suho asks her if those girls were the ones who bullied her at her old school, and she confirms. Meanwhile, the protagonist's teacher is getting her eyebrows done at her mother's salon, and as soon as Hee-kyung enters, the man runs out without even having them ready because he feels ashamed of being seen like that. The woman follows him, and in the end, the two end up having their first kiss. The next day, Seo-jun, when accessing social media, discovers that Ju-kyung was also in the sauna like him, but he doesn't remember seeing her. Meanwhile, that group of boys who are always chasing Seo-jun found the photo that was taken in the cafeteria of the boy and the protagonist together, and that was enough for them to use it to get his attention. Seo-jun is in the hospital with his mother, and her exams are good. The medication will be reduced, and the doctor says that this is thanks to an acquaintance of the boy who requested the best team in the place to take care of her. Seo-jun goes to Suho to find out why he did this, and the boy says that it's what he would do for his mother if she were in her place too, adding that because the two were friends in the past, that mattered. The conversation is interrupted when Seo-jun receives a call from Ju-kyung's cell phone, but when she answers it, she discovers that it is about those boys telling her that they are with her at a place and want him there. When the protagonist has the opportunity and the rest are distracted, she takes out her cell phone and makes a video call to Suha, showing her the environment. The three of them know where it is and run to help her. The first to arrive are Suho and Seo-jun, who, upon finding the room where she is, start fighting with the boys. Then the fantastic trio also arrive, and Soo-jin is perfect, as she always uses her blows to help put an end to the bullies. What did you think of these episodes? I hope you enjoyed the summary. Leave your suggestions in the comments and subscribe. If you liked the video, like and share to help me until next time.